Well, welcome to the news, the way to the Truthcast. The latest news is that Kamala launches Republicans for Harris to try to court the GOP's biggest losers. Vice President Kamala Harris campaign is launching Republicans for Harris, nominating former President Donald Trump. The program aims to create a permission structure for GOP voters to support Harris, focusing particularly on former Nikki Haley supporters. The initiative will use well known Republicans to activate their network and rely on Republican to Republican vote contact. Former Republican crying Adam Kinzinger is among the prominent Republicans endorsing Harris, along with former GOP officials, the Trump administration members. The campaign is targeting moderate Republicans and highlighting Trump's criticism of his former allies and opponents. Kamala's campaign faces personal scrutiny. Her husband might have knocked up the nanny. Doug Emhoff, husband of Vice President Kamala Harris, they don't have the same last name, admitted to having an affair during his previous marriage to Kirsten Emhoff. At least they have the same last name. Reports suggest the affair was with their children's nanny, though Emhoff did not comment specifically on this allegation. The affair reported led to the end of Emhoff's 16-year marriage in 2009, years before he met Harris. The former Mrs. Emhoff had been supportive of her ex-husband and Harris, contributing to their blended family. The U.S. is sending even more troops to the Middle East as Iran prepares retaliatory attacks. The U.S. is deploying additional fighter jets and naval warships to the Middle East to bolster defenses amid threats from Iran and its allies, Hamas and Hezbollah. This move comes in response to Iran's vow to retaliate for the killing of Hezbollah leaders Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. The Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has approved sending more Navy cruisers, destroyers, and a fighter jet squadron to the region. The U.S. Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group will replace the USS Theodore Roosevelt in the Middle East. These deployments are aimed to improve the U.S. force protection, supporting Israel's defense, and preparing for various contingencies in the regions. The New York City is overflowing with mentally unstable, homeless drug addicts. Manhattan's West Side, particularly Midtown and surrounding areas, is experiencing a surge in homelessness, mental illness, and drug abusing individuals, creating what Councilman Eric Botcher calls a humanitarian crisis. The situation is affecting local tourists and businesses, with open drug use, public indecency, and intimidation becoming common sights in popular areas like Penn Station and Washington Square Park. Local businesses and hotels are struggling to manage the issue, with some resorting to measures like using sprinklers to deter loiterers. While crime statistics show a decrease in most precincts, quality of life issues and calls about uh, disturbed people are not easily reflected in these numbers. Botcher is calling for more social services and support, including the expansion of mental health response programs and the placement of social workers in police precincts. Nancy Pelosi says that Joe Biden belongs on Mount Rushmore. In a CBS News interview, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called President Joe Biden a Mount Rushmore kind of president. Interviewer Leslie Stahl expressed surprise at that statement, asking Pelosi if she seriously believed Biden belonged alongside figures like Abraham Lincoln on Mount Rushmore. Pelosi clarified that Biden could be added to Mount Rushmore without removing the presidential figures currently on it. Oh, excuse me. Asia nears a bear market as Japanese stocks plummet. Asia stock markets, particularly Japan's Nikkei 225 and Topix, experienced significant sell-offs with both indices approaching bear market territory. Japan's market led the losses with the Nikkei 225 and the Topix dropping as much as 7%, and major trading houses plunged around 10%. Other Asian markets also saw declines, with the one's Thai X down almost 8%, and South Korea OSPI down 4.38%. Investors are awaiting key trade data from Japan and Taiwan, as well as central bank decisions from Australia and India. The federal whistleblowers say that Tulsi Gabbard is under TSA surveillance. Federal air marshals whistleblowers have reported that former U.S. Representative Tulsi Gabbard is currently under surveillance through the TSA's Quiet Skies program. Gabbard is allegedly unaware that she is being monitored by multiple security personnel on every flight she takes. The Air Marshal National Council believes this surveillance may be politically motivated. Starting a day after Gabbard criticized Kamala Harris, Biden, and the national security state in an interview, the Quiet Skies program has been controversial with the other cases of apparent political targeting reported, including surveillance of January 6 attendees and their families. Critics argue that the program violates citizens' constitutional rights and is being used as a domestic surveillance group targeting conservatives. What's next? Kamala Harris still hasn't sat for an interview since becoming the Democratic Party's heir apparent more than a week ago. Why is this being tolerated? Harris is not only running for president under extreme, bizarre circumstances, but she participated in the ousting of her boss and hid his rapid cognitive decline from the public. Whoops. Further, Harris played an active role in some of the Biden administration's most disastrous policy wins. As borders are, she did absolutely nothing to stop hordes of illegals from entering and spreading across the country. There are less than 100 days until the presidential election. The woman who is most likely to be the Democrat nominee must answer for her role in facilitating our national decline. She addresses the American people. And so, if you want the truth, if you want the news, stay tuned for further updates. This is the news from the Way to the Truthcast. Good night.